So you're trying to boycott Starbucks. Well, I have an alternative for their iced lemon loaf that you can make here at home for very cheap or free with what you likely have on hand at home. This can be adjusted to be gluten-free and vegan, but use what you have on hand. So I'm going to use an all-purpose baking flour. If you don't want to use wheat, you can use things like almond flour or something like that, and you can add a little bit of baking soda, but I'm going to use about a half cup of flour. So we put in this half cup of flour into my bowl, and the next thing we're going to do after I put this on is add some sugar. So I add about 2 or 3 tablespoons of sugar. I'm just using my little spoon here, and this is my rose sugar, which is just sugar, like granulated sugar ground up with rose petals, but you can use any sugar you like. I'm using rose because it adds a nice, pleasant taste that's nice, warm, and sugary, which will be reminiscent of the Starbucks Lemon Loaf, but, you know, not supporting apartheid states or genocide. Now next, what you'll want to do is use milk and or water, depending on your lactose issues. You can use any type of milk, it doesn't have to be dairy. It can be milkadamia or macadamia milk, it can be powdered milk made into a regular milk. Use what you have on hand. You're going to use 2 tablespoons of that. So let's use 2 tablespoons of powdered milk here. It's going to be hard to get out, but you're going to want to get 2 tablespoons of milk roughly, maybe a little more if it's powdered and it's not coming out right. Use a little bit more if you want to, because the more you use, the less dry it'll be. So that's what you're going to want to do. Just put it in there like that, and then close the lid to your milk, of course. Now that I've wiped out this tablespoon here, I'm going to put in 2 tablespoons of my oil of choice. You can use olive oil, you can use grapeseed oil, avocado oil. Honestly, you can use a little bit more than 2 tablespoons. You want this to be consistency-wise when you put this. I put in 3 tablespoons here, but you want to make sure that this is like moist, kind of like a frosting, but not quite when you put it in, because of when you're going to microwave it, it'll dry it out. And you don't want it to be dry and crumbly when you put it in your mouth, and considering this is a no-egg formula, you'll be fine. Fine, I should say, if it's a little under-baked. Last thing you're going to want to add is a tiny bit of this little lemon juice to it. Just a little bit in the cap is what I use as a measuring. I put that in there, just 1 capful, maybe a little less into this, less is more. Now you see this doesn't look too appealing, but you're going to want to stir this together, and I'm going to show you what it should look like here in a second. It's going to look something like this, and it's going to be nice and liquidy. Now you're going to want to put it into the microwave. You can see my microwave here. I'm just going to put it in the microwave, as you can see, and we're going to microwave this for 1 minute and 35 seconds. Now while you're waiting, you can get your pre-made lemon icing, or any lemon icing of your choice, and we're going to use this to ice our faux Starbucks lemon loaf because we're not supporting apartheid states now. What I used to make this, by the way, was just some powdered sugar and some lemon juice and some butter, and I whisked it together using one of those electric handheld whisks. But you can also use a fork if you're in a pinch. Now, because we use the rose sugar, the color is going to look a little different. But this is what it's going to look like before you ice it. Icing is fairly easy and straightforward. You just take your knife of choice, you put it into your frosting, and you frost that little sucker. It's going to be a little difficult because of how wet it is, but don't worry, because we didn't use egg or anything of that nature. It's fine. We're just going to use some of the frosting on top if we can get it to frost, and yours should look something like... It should look something like this. This is some honey drizzled on top because it tastes particularly good with the rose sugar additive that I did with my particular recipe. Again, you can do as you please, but when you eat this, it'll taste really good. I took a small little bit out of this off the icing knife, and it was very good, and it tastes quite a bit like the Starbucks Lemon Loaf, just minus supporting the genocidal apartheid state that is Israel. Now for a true taste test. Here's this. That's good. Okay. This is 10 out of 10 approved by me, and free Palestine.